And welcome to Sports Mag. This is the incorrigible Bobby Galen, yes, the legend himself, and I'm Cyrus Allen with here to talk to you about CU sports. So get ready because we have all kinds of sports. Bobby, tell them about the sports we have.
We've got football, we've got soccer, probably have basketball, we definitely got volleyball, and of course the best sport of all, cross country.
Right you are, Bobby. Thanks for that. Don't go anywhere because you're going to want to see this. The Colorado Buffaloes football program continues to grab national attention this Tuesday. The Buffs took another major step when the first college playoff rankings of the season had the Buffs listed at number 15. The Buffs' final two opponents were also mentioned in the ranking, Washington State at 25 and Utah at 16, right behind the Buffs. This is the first time that the Buffs have been mentioned in the rankings in the 3 years of the CFP's existence. The ranking is the highest that the Buffs have been in a national ranking of significance since the Buffs finished the 2002 regular season ranked 14th in the AP coaches poll and 13th in the final BCS standings. Way to go, Buffs.
We did things a little different this week, and that's due to the fact that the Buffs played on a Thursday night instead of a Saturday.
That's right, Bobby. We decided it would be better for us to add a little twist to this week's game recap. So I went out onto the field after the game with Ali Monroy and Jake Shapiro to discuss the rights and the wrongs of the game.
Ali Monroy here with Cyrus Allen and Jake Shapiro for Sports Mag after Colorado's interesting win against UCLA. Cyrus, Jake, what are your thoughts on the game overall?
Interesting to say the least. The Buffaloes did not do well on offense, really stagnant all game until a punt return really dug us out of a hole, but the defense really came and showed what they were made of, as Max says, a top 20 defense in the nation right now.
It told me everything I need to know about the Colorado Buffaloes. Cepha Lufau said it best. Good teams find ways to win. This team played one of their worst football games they could possibly play. They played easily their worst football game of the year, and they still win by 10 points. They get the clutch stops when they need to on defense. They get the clutch special teams play when they needed to. Colorado football, it's back.
What are a few key things that stood out to you from the defense?
You know, the defense, they forced turnovers right when they needed to, and they got third down stops when they needed to. And the big thing is they got sacks to get UCLA out of field goal range when they most needed to. It was the defense that came up large, and you know what? This was the fourth game this year at Folsom Field. The defense has allowed 3 touchdowns. That's incredible.
It's amazing really what they did, and I'll add on to your point, they did get to the quarterback. They pressured him a lot, but they also stopped the run game almost completely. I don't think they had over 50 yards running the entire game, which at home is just exactly what you want from your defense.
Quite a few turnovers for CU. What are your thoughts on those?
Expanding mistakes in general. 12 penalties on the Buffs. As Mike McIntyre said, we will not have that in our football program. They had 4 turnovers all in the first half, all on their quarterbacks, 3 by Cepha Lufau, 1 by backup Steven Montez when Cepha Lufau went out with a stinger. And you can't do those things if you want to win games in the Pac-12. So Colorado very lucky tonight to win this football game because they can't make mistakes like they did tonight.
I agree. It wasn't just interceptions. There was a few fumbles in the game, and that was a huge part of it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Philip Lindsay, when we're on the goal line, we have first and goal on the 4-yard line, and we can't get it in, a fumble, and really just a sloppy game by the Buffs, but it was helped a lot by a similarly sloppy game by UCLA. We had our share of unsportsmanlike conducts, but they also had a lot of key penalties too that sent them back. So in a sloppy game, a dogfight, CU, good to see them come out on top and show that in these late games, in November, in a close game, they can come out and get a win.
43,000 fans in attendance today. Was that too low or too high in your opinions? Because Buffs came out ranked 15 in the CFP polls this weekend. What were your thoughts on the amount of fans here?
You know, I will say the total attendance may not be great, but the student section was amazing tonight. I think this might have been one of the first games that I've seen where the entire student section was full the entire game to the end of the fourth quarter. They were loud, they were cheering. I remember one drive specifically, I think they altered the entire drive that UCLA was driving, and they were in their face. They got a penalty, we got a sack, and kicked them out of field goal. The student section, for those who did show up, were very solid and one of the better student sections I've seen in my time here at Colorado.
I agree. I think more students could have shown up, but the students that did their part and really helped out in this game. For Jake Shapiro and Cyrus Allen, I'm Ali Monroy for CU Sports Mag. Back to you guys at the desk.
Head coach Mike McIntyre didn't have much to say at the press conference after the Buffs' 20-10 win against UCLA due to sloppy execution by his team. He focused on how the team played and mentioned ways the team will correct certain situations before they play again against Arizona next week. His main concern was on not making similar penalty mistakes in the future.
Well, yeah, I told him, I said, we're here to be Pac-12 champions. You know, we didn't celebrate it all in there. I didn't. I want them to enjoy the win because they're so hard to come by. Okay, I don't want to do that now. I don't want to squelch it. I mean, I want them to enjoy it. But when we come back tomorrow, we're going to correct them. We're going to work on it. We have extra running we have to do for personal fouls, and that team is a whole team. And they need to understand, if we want to be Pac-12 champions, we cannot do that. We have to be better poised. We have to think of others. We can't be selfish. And we haven't been, but we won't be again because we got too much at stake. And you don't want to screw it up because you have a couple unselfish plays and you lose a game because of it, and it keeps you.
Head coach Mike MacIntyre has been named to the 2016 Dodd Trophy midseason watch list. The list has 18 of the nation's top college football coaches in all Power 5 conferences. The head coaches represented on the list include Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, and Jim Harbaugh. All of the programs have the highest ideals of leadership, scholarship, and integrity on and off the field, something that Coach MacIntyre has preached all year. All of the coaches that represent have winning records, superior academic progress rates, graduation rates, and a strong commitment to the community and their service. Coach MacIntyre knows a thing or two about the award, as his father, George MacIntyre, won the Dodd Trophy in 1982 while coaching at Vanderbilt. A voting panel of all previous winners, plus a committee of National College Football media members and 2 College Football Hall of Fame members, will decide the 2016 recipient. The winner of the Dodd Trophy will be announced in Atlanta during the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
The rise continues to be real on and off the field for the Buffs. They were able to land 6'2", 250-pound, 3-star defensive end prospect Jacob Collier. He currently attends St. John Bosco High School in Bellflower, California. Collier has 53 tackles, 38 solo, and 8 sacks in his 8 games thus far this season. He received offers from Arizona, Arizona State, Boston College, Hawaii, Nevada, San Diego State, and San Jose State. Collier marks the 21st commit for Mike MacIntyre's class of 2017.
This week's trivia question is about our beloved NCCA-ranked most adored mascot, Ralphie. Everybody knows that Ralphie is kept in an undisclosed location to keep her safe and away from any mischief and harm. But who would really want to mess with the buffalo, you may ask? Well, that is what our trivia question is about this week. We want to know, who kidnapped Ralphie and what year did they kidnap her? All I know is that anyone with the guts to mess with a 1,300-pound buffalo, more power to you. Make sure you stick around to find out exactly who that gutsy group is later on in the show.
Coming up after the break, we'll talk a little bit about Folsom Field's history, and of course, we'll name our amazing athletes of the week.
We will also have a summary of volleyball's interesting weekend and what they have to look forward to in their upcoming games. Don't go anywhere. SportsMag will be right back.
These words are all around campus, the Norland Quad, the Rec Center, the UMC, over by Farron Field, even in some res halls.
It's not just these words being repeated everywhere, it's really a description of the community and the people that you're going to be encountering in the next 4 years.
The creed is a value for the CU community. As a member of the Boulder community and the University of Colorado Boulder, I agree to
act with honor, integrity, and accountability in my interactions with students, faculty, staff, and neighbors.
To respect the rights of others and accept our differences. Contribute to the greater good of this community.
I will strive to uphold these principles in all aspects of my collegiate experience and beyond.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you?
You know you do. Yeah, but I don't know where to start.
That's why we're here. We're free, handsome,
I think we're breathtaking.
and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Biology homework, G. I got this.
Is that Bran?
Colleges love extracurricular activities.
Chess really isn't my thing.
I got this. Doesn't matter. Go ahead. Picking a college, man. You and us. go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos.
Fire and ice.
Those don't really go together.
Go to getschool.com for more info.
Colorado's iconic Folsom Field was once named Colorado Stadium, and in November of 1944, the famed stadium was named after Fred Folsom, after legendary Buffs coach Fred Folsom. The stadium also originally held basketball games and track meets, but new improvements removed the track, gave more room for even more seats, and created a tunnel for both players and the Buffs' new emphatic mascot, Ralphie. Folsom Field has gone through developments over the years that have converted it from a small multi-sport facility into one of the most famous fields in the country.
After that outstanding performance last weekend in Arizona, it's only right that the cross-country teams sweep athletes of the week as well. Senior Aaron Clark and senior Ben Sorrell are our two athletes of the week. Clark was the runner-up at the 2016 Women's Pac-12 Championship last Friday, leading their Buffs to the second straight team title. The top-ranked Buffs won the team title with 33 points, defeating the runner-up Washington by 41 points, which is the largest margin of victory in Pac-12 history. Senior Ben Sorrell led the 7th-ranked Buffs to their 6th consecutive Pac-12 cross-country team title as he finished 3rd, his highest conference finish. The Buffs recorded 41 points to narrowly defeat number 2 Stanford by 6 points. This weekend, the Colorado volleyball team has a difficult lineup, facing off against number 13 Stanford and number 6 California on Sunday. The last time the Buffs played Stanford, they lost, even though Alexa Smith recorded a team-high kills at 11. And the last time the Buffs played against California, they lost again. So the games this weekend will not only be important for Pac-12 rankings, but will also give the Buffs a chance to redeem themselves. Both of these games will be pivotal Pac-12 matches for the Colorado team, with the game against Stanford starting at 6 p.m. and the games against California starting at 12 p.m. Friday's match will be televised nationally on Pac-12 networks, and Sunday's match will be broadcast live on Pac-12 Mountain and Pac-12 Bay Area.
On Saturday the 29th, the volleyball team faced a hard loss against number 24 ranked USC in Los Angeles, California. The Buffs lost by 2 points in the first match, 3 points in the second, and 4 points in the third. Although the Buffs didn't play as well as planned, junior Gabby Simpson recorded her 6th triple-double of the season. She led the team with 12 kills and hit a match best of .647 with only 1 error on 17 attacks. Even though it was a tough loss against USC, congrats to Gabby Simpson on all of her accomplishments.
The Buffs are currently ranked 9th in the Pac-12 with a record of 4-8. So going into the games tonight will be important for the team. Nagedi Abu, a sophomore on the volleyball team, averages the 47th best total blocks per set in the country and 6th best in the Pac-12. Additionally, senior Kiara McKibben and junior Gabby Simpson have been quite the pair on the court together. The two upperclassmen have been creating an extremely successful offense by helping the team with their hitting efficiency. Watch both tonight at 6 and Sunday at noon to see if CU can make this weekend a winning one. Soon to come after the break, we will also have Alex Doyle in the studio for this week's cross-country edition of Buff Banter.
And we'll tell you who's going to fill the shoes of basketball star Josh Scott this upcoming season, and we'll give you an inside look on the rise of a CU sport that isn't football. Don't touch that remote. We'll be right back.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore.
Show up
And frustration, a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy. And giving up, impossible.
And then we're gonna turn the lights and everybody look up.
I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought.
Finally won. What's your reaction gonna be? Yeah, exactly.
And unconventional methods,
Okay, what else?
common.
Little tadpoles, the frogs, Spider said, this is their world.
There's nothing.
And then they die. Go ahead, go, go, go.
I'm a teacher. I make more.
Last weekend, the Buffs soccer team played the number 4 ranked USC Trojans. Unfortunately, the Trojans handed the Buffs their second loss in Pac-12 play, winning 3-0. The loss was only the 5th for the team, whose record is now 14-5. With only one regular season match remaining, the Buffs fell out of first place in the conference. The final game of the regular season started at 3 p.m. this afternoon against the University of Utah.
CUBuffs.com has been counting down the top 20 moments in Colorado soccer history. The top 19 moments have already been revealed, and it's time for us to tell you about the number 1 moment in CU soccer history. The number 1 moment for the Buffs soccer squad is their win in the Big 12 regular season title. That season, the Buffs finished the season 15-4-1, including a conference record of 8-1-1. Despite the strong season, the Buffs lost their first game against defending national champion Portland on August 29th. The team rebounded from the win and began what is still the longest streak in program history, winning 15 straight games. The winning streak lasted nearly 2 months, ending October 26th against Texas A&M.
Well, it looks like the rise is not only happening to football this season, but to women's soccer as well. Last year, their soccer team ended the season with only 1 conference win. But just like another team of CU's, this year has been more successful than anyone could have dreamed. Women's soccer now has a record of 8-2 in the Pac-12 and beat not 1, but 2 ranked top 10 teams within the postseason. The alone would have asked the popular opposite season his team is having. Head coach Danny Sanchez said, "I felt we were better than we performed last year. It was just a matter of getting those players to believe that they are capable of more. Maybe there's something in the water here in Boulder, but no matter what you believe that the rise is real and it's here to stay."
The CU cross-country team is on fire heading into the Pac-12 Mountain Region Championships. In this week's edition of Buff Banner, we have Alex Doyle in the studio to give you everything you need to know about this year's cross-country team.
Hey guys, it's me, Alex Doyle, here to talk to you about our cross-country teams. The men's team was upset last year by Syracuse at the national meet, and the women were beaten only by New Mexico. This year, both teams came into the season feeling like they had something to prove. Last weekend, they competed in the Pac-12 championships. The men came into the meet ranked 7th in the country, and the women were ranked 1st. The men placed 4 runners in the top 10, with Ben Sorrell claiming the last step of the podium. He was joined by Zach Perrin, John Dressel, and Ryan Forsyth, and the Buffs were able to edge out Stanford for the conference title, beating the Cardinal by only 6 points. The women also placed 4 runners in the top 10. They placed 2 runners on the podium, Aaron Clark and Danny Jones, who were 2nd and 3rd respectively. Caitlin Benner finished just off the podium in 4th, and McKenna Morley was 9th. After the win in the Pac-12 championships, the men's squad received their highest ranking of the season in the USTF CCCA poll. Prior to the conference meet, like I said earlier, the Buffs were 7th in that poll, but they're now 2nd. Leading the poll is Northern Arizona University, and Brigham Young is just behind the Buffs in 3rd. For the 2nd straight week, the women sit atop the poll, but it's the first time of the season they are unanimous, receiving all 12 first-place votes. North Carolina State is 2nd, and Providence is 3rd. The Buffs not only swept the conference team titles, they took home a few other accolades as well. For the 2nd straight year, Coach Mark Wetmore was named Pac-12 Men's and Women's Coach of the Year. Both the men's and women's teams placed 4 runners each on the all Pac-12 teams. Ben Sorrell, Zach Perrin, and John Dressel made the first team, and Ryan Forsyth was named to the 2nd team. The women's first team will include Aaron Clark, Danny Jones, and Caitlin Benner, while McKenna Morley will be on the 2nd team. Well, seems I've run out of time. I'm Alex Doyle. Back to you guys at the desk.
For the second year in a row, the Buffs cross-country team has swept the Pac-12 team titles last Friday at the Randall North Golf Course. The title is the 6th straight for the men's team and the 3rd overall for the women's since joining the Pac-12 in 2001. CU has won 9 of the 12 possible league titles in cross-country. Coming into the conference championships, the women were ranked 1st and the men were ranked 7th, something they were unaccustomed to. Erin Clark and Danny Jones were the best women for the Buffs, finishing 2nd and 3rd respectively. On the men's side, it was Ben Sorrell and Zach Perrin who both had Pac-12 best finishes, 3rd and 4th respectively. The Buffs' next meet is at the NCAA Mountain Region Championships in Logan, Utah on November 11th.
Like we said last week, basketball is right around the corner with the first game starting November 11th against Sacramento State University. Jordan Simmons from our affiliate at News Team Boulder caught up with one of the new transfers and asked him a few questions. Take it away, Jordan.
Tad Boyle has high standards for his Colorado guards. He wants speed, high basketball IQ, and size to top it off. Senior transfer Derek White fits the bill, but it wasn't always that way.
It was always a dream to play here, but when nobody talks to you from here or no D1 schools talk to you, you really just look at your next best option, which was UCCS.
White graduated from Legend High School, nowhere near the size Division I coaches like Boyle want. 30 pounds and 4 inches later, Boyle had White back in his sights.
And that's when Coach Billups and Coach Boyle called me, so that's when the relationship started, and I liked what they had to say, and it was a perfect fit.
The decision to recruit White is shaping up to be a signature one in Colorado's success this year.
Derek White, wish we would have had him for 4 years rather than just the one, but we'll take the one. He's pretty special.
But why transfer now as a senior? Transfers are required to sit out for a full season, which could be seen as a disadvantage in pro-level recruiting or academics. But for White, this didn't matter. He made his time off an advantage.
It gave me a time to catch up in classes with the transfer, and it was definitely a learning experience. You're courtside, you can see how big, how physical, how athletic all the guys are.
Boyle's still in the process of deciding his starting 5 for next Friday, and so far, 3 people have stood out to him. One of them is Derek White.
You can play 3 positions on offense. You can play a little bit of point. You can play the wing. In today's basketball world, they have to have the ball in their hands to be real effective. He can be effective without it.
Derek White sees his year at Colorado as a year of competing at the highest level, and he seems more than ready to make it count.
CU men's basketball star Wesley Gordon looks to step up in the spotlight this season. With his 4 years as a Buff has been overshadowed by former CU frontman Josh Scott. In a recent interview, Gordon said that he will be more aggressive this season, and with Scott's departure, it'll open a lot more opportunities for more players. Last season, he was named an honorable mention for the Pac-12 all-defensive team. As the center of the Buffs offense, Gordon will be expected to play hard defense, fight for rebounds, and stay on the court for most of the game.
Coming up after our last break, we have Ansley Guthrie in the studio to give us the latest news in CU sports in another sizzling edition of Rapid Fire.
We also have our tweet of the week from someone within the SportsMag family, and we'll finally give you that answer to the trivia question. So stick around, we'll be right back.
Ugh. Rapid Fire's up next with me, Ansley Guthrie. Stay tuned.
A mi Juan le cuesta mucho hacer la tarea. ¿Cómo puedo ayudar? By coming here, you're already helping. Teachers have a lot to learn from parents.
Dice que ya con venir aquí estás ayudando, que los maestros tienen mucho que aprender de ti.
By the way, he's been a little mischievous lately.
Dice que me porto requete bien.
Juan.
Hables inglés o no, debes participar en la educación de tu hijo. Aprende cómo llamando.
Only you
can prevent forest fire.
And it's true. We know we can count on you to do what Smokey says.
Drown your campfires with water. Make sure it's totally wet. Then stir and drown again.
We know we can count on you to do what Smokey says.
Only you prevent forest fires.
This house was almost saved from a fire that was almost put out by neighbors who almost volunteered. As generous a nation as we are, sometimes instead of giving, we almost give. But almost giving is the same as not giving at all.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad
One more
today.
time. Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
It's time for the most exciting segment in CU television. Turn up the thermostat in your house and go next door and then turn up your neighbor's thermostat, because it's time for Rapid Fire. We have Ansley Guthrie in the studio to give you the latest on CU sports.
What's up, Buff fans? I'm Ansley Guthrie, and I'm here with this week's Rapid Fire, so let's get right into it. First up, we have women's soccer on November 4th against number 23 Utah, which is here at home. The game starts at 3 p.m. Next up, we have women's volleyball against number 13 Stanford, which is also on November 4th. The game starts at 6 p.m. with free admission if you bring your ticket stub from the UCLA football game, and you can get $1 hot dogs, so why wouldn't you go? And continuing with women's volleyball, they play again on November 6th with the game starting at 12 p.m. This match will be against number 6 California and is also at home. And last up, we have men's golf. Our men will be competing in the Gifford Collegiate Championship, which will be hosted in Napa, California. This tournament will last from November 7th through the 9th, with the boys playing all day, each day. So those are all our upcoming sports events, Buff fans. That's all the time I have for this week in Rapid Fire, but come back next time. I'm Ansley Guthrie, and now I'm sending it back to you guys at the desk.
Now for the moment we know you've been waiting for the entire show. The answer to that trivia question. In case you forgot what that was, we asked, who kidnapped Ralphie and what year did they kidnap her? And the answer is, Air Force Academy kidnapped Ralphie in 1970. The story goes that the cadets stole Ralphie and then decided to parade her around the Air Force Academy's football stadium with 2 huge buns on either side of her and a 6-foot-tall ketchup bottle. Little weird, but then again, you think stealing a buffalo is a good idea. All of your ideas are probably not the best. Luckily, Ralphie was returned safe and sound and is forever to be hidden from students.
This week's Tweet of the Week comes from Sportsmag's very own Allie Monroy. In light of CU's rise, she put the Buffs' recent success into perspective, comparing CU to some of the top football programs in the nation. Tweeting, CU is one of 4 schools in the country that ranks in the top 20 in both total offense and total defense, besides Alabama, Louisville, and OSU. This statistic comes as a surprise after the Buffs were ranked number 11 in preseason Pac-12 media poll a few months back. CU now has their sights set on the Pac-12 championship. Bobby, what is the realest thing that happened last week?
That's a tough question, but I would definitely have to say the rise.
Correct, sir. And do you know what? I think that the rise is going to continue for CU. How far do you think we can go, Bobby?
To the heavens and beyond, Cyrus.
Wow, that is pretty high. Things are looking good for CU sports.
Well, that is all the time we have today. I'm Bobby, and this is Cyrus. Make sure to tune in next week for another edition of Sports Mag.